Commander Ector's laughter echoed through the Tarkalian invasion fleet as they entered Earth's orbit. His scans revealed a pitiful assortment of outdated satellites and crude spacecraft, hardly a defense worthy of their advanced alien armada. "Behold the mighty human fleet." Ector's voice dripped with sarcasm as he addressed his crew. "These primitive vessels will crumble before our might. Victory is assured." As the Tarkalian ships began their descent, an unexpected resistance met them. Their shields flickered and sputtered, struggling against an unknown interference in Earth's atmosphere. Ector dismissed the setback, ordering his fleet to push through. On the surface, in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, wildlife biologist Jordan Williams received an emergency alert. Alien invaders had arrived. Jordan's fingers flew across his equipment, gathering crucial data on local wildlife behavior. He knew he had to evacuate, but something told him this information might prove vital. The Tarkalian ground assault began, targeting major population centers across the globe, but Earth had surprises in store for the overconfident aliens. In the dense Amazon jungle, Tarkalian troops floundered in unfamiliar terrain. Jordan, hidden in the undergrowth, watched in astonishment as a swarm of bullet ants descended upon a group of alien soldiers. The invaders' screams of agony and confusion filled the air. Similar scenes unfolded worldwide. In the African savanna, a herd of elephants trampled a Tarkalian landing party, their massive forms dwarfing the alien invaders. Australia's venomous creatures wreaked havoc on Tarkalian biological systems, their alien physiology unprepared for Earth's toxic defenses. Commander Ector, monitoring the invasion from orbit, received increasingly alarming reports. His supposedly superior forces were being decimated by mere animals. How could this be happening? Jordan Williams, observing the chaos, had an epiphany. Earth's wildlife could be the key to repelling the invasion. He began formulating a plan, his years of research suddenly taking on new significance. If he could harness the power of nature, humanity might stand a chance. As the Tarkalians struggled against the planet's natural defenses, a hidden signal activated deep within Earth's oceans. The water's surface broke as sleek, advanced vessels emerged, Earth's true fleet, concealed from both alien and civilian detection. The Tarkalians had fallen for humanity's ruse, believing Earth to be defenseless when a formidable force lay in wait. Commander Ector's confidence evaporated as he watched Earth's hidden fleet rise to meet his invasion force. The planet he had dismissed as primitive now revealed its true strength, born from the crucible of evolution and tempered by the relentless forces of nature. The battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and the Tarkalians were no longer certain of their victory. They had laughed at Earth's apparent weakness, but now faced the combined might of humanity's ingenuity and the savage fury of Earth's wildlife. The invaders were about to learn a harsh lesson. On this planet, even the smallest creature could turn the tide of war. The ocean's surface erupted as sleek vessels emerged, their gleaming hulls shedding water like mercury. Commander Ector's eyes widened in disbelief as he watched Earth's hidden fleet rise to meet his invasion force. "Impossible," he breathed, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "This can't be happening." But it was. The planet he had dismissed as primitive now revealed its true strength, born from the crucible of evolution and tempered by the relentless forces of nature. Admiral Marcus Steele stood on the bridge of the EDF flagship, his weathered face set in unyielding commitment. "All ships, engage cloaking systems and prepare for assault," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's hopes. The EDF vessels shimmered and vanished from sight, leaving only ripples in the air to mark their presence. Seconds later, the Tarkalian fleet erupted in chaos as invisible attackers unleashed a devastating barrage. Ector's ship rocked violently, alarms blaring throughout the command center. "Return fire!" he screeched, but his gunners couldn't target what they couldn't see. In the dense Amazon rainforest, Jordan Williams crouched in the undergrowth, his heart pounding. He watched as a group of local resistance fighters herded a writhing mass of Amazonian giant centipedes towards a Tarkalian encampment. "Now!" Jordan hissed into his communicator. The resistance fighters released the centipedes, which surged forward in a terrifying wave of chitinous bodies and venomous pincers. Alien screams filled the air as the arthropods swarmed over the unprepared Tarkalians, their exoskeletons providing little protection against the relentless assault. Jordan allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction before moving on to his next target. His wildlife tactics were working, but he knew they needed to press their advantage. Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded. In the crystal-clear waters of the Great Barrier Reef, Dr. Emily Lewis directed a team of marine biologists as they guided swarms of box jellyfish towards Tarkalian water-based operations. "Remember, their stingers can penetrate their protective suits," Emily reminded her team. "We just need to get them close enough." The alien aquatic vehicles began to falter as their pilots succumbed to the jellyfish's potent venom. One by one, the craft drifted aimlessly or sank beneath the waves, effectively ending the Tarkalians' plans for an amphibious assault. In the savannah of East Africa, Colonel Kwesi Ose rode atop a massive bull elephant, leading a charge against a Tarkalian supply convoy. The ground shook as a herd of elephants and rhinoceroses thundered across the plain, their immense bulk dwarfing the alien vehicles. "Forward!" Ose shouted, raising his arm. The megafauna crashed into the Tarkalian lines, flipping vehicles and trampling alien soldiers. The invaders' energy weapons proved ineffective against the thick hides of Earth's largest land animals, leaving them defenseless against the onslaught. High above the planet's surface, the space battle raged on. Admiral Steele's fleet darted in and out of visibility, striking hard and fast before disappearing again. Tarkalian ships exploded in silent bursts of fire and debris, their advanced technology rendered useless by Earth's superior tactics. Hector, his confidence shattered, barked orders frantically. "Regroup. We need to break orbit and reassess our strategy." But as the remaining Tarkalian ships attempted to retreat, they found themselves trapped. The EDF fleet had positioned itself between the aliens and open space, while Earth's newly activated planetary shield prevented any escape toward the surface. Admiral Steele allowed himself a grim smile. "The noose tightens," he muttered. Jordan Williams, monitoring the battle's progress from his makeshift command center in the Amazon, felt a surge of hope. His wildlife tactics had bought them valuable time, but he knew they needed a decisive blow to end the invasion once and for all. An idea began to form in his mind, audacious and potentially suicidal, but with the potential to turn the tide definitively in Earth's favor. He reached for his emergency communicator, hesitated for a moment, then made the call. "Admiral Steele, this is Jordan Williams. I have a proposition for you." Steele's voice crackled through the speaker, tense but curious. "I'm listening, Mr. Williams." Jordan took a deep breath. "I need to get aboard one of those alien ships. If I can study them up close, I might be able to find a biological weakness we can exploit using Earth's fauna." There was a long pause before Steele responded. "That's a hell of a risk, Williams, but at this point, I'm open to bold moves. I'm sending coordinates for a rendezvous with one of our stealth shuttles. Good luck." As Jordan prepared for his daring mission, the battle continued to rage across the globe. In the Rocky Mountains, General James Hawkins led a combined force of conventional military units and EDF-equipped soldiers against a major Tarkalian stronghold. "Push forward," Hawkins shouted over the din of battle. "We've got them on the ropes." The human forces advanced steadily, their weapons now augmented with EDF technology that could penetrate Tarkalian defenses. The aliens, caught between the relentless human assault and the unforgiving mountain terrain, began to falter. In orbit, Jordan boarded the EDF stealth shuttle, his heart racing with a mixture of fear and excitement. As the small craft maneuvered towards the nearest Tarkalian command ship, he ran through his plan one last time. The shuttle's pilot, a young woman with steady hands and nerves of steel, guided them through the chaos of the space battle. "We're approaching the target," she announced. "Prepare for docking." Jordan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He was about to step into the unknown, carrying the hopes of humanity with him. As the shuttle made contact with the alien vessel, he steeled himself for what lay ahead. The battle for Earth hung in the balance, with Jordan's mission potentially holding the key to victory? As he prepared to board the Tarkalian ship, the fate of two species rested on his shoulders. As Jordan stepped through the airlock onto the Tarkalian command ship, his heart raced with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Captain Derek Harper and his team of elite EDF soldiers followed close behind, their advanced stealth suits barely rustling as they moved. "Remember," Jordan whispered, "we're here to gather intel and find weaknesses. No unnecessary risks." Captain Harper nodded, his eyes scanning the alien corridor. "Understood. Team, stay frosty and follow William's lead." The interior of the Tarkalian vessel was a marvel of biomechanical engineering. Pulsating organic walls merged seamlessly with crystalline technology, creating an environment that felt alive and utterly alien. Jordan's scientific curiosity warred with his survival instincts as they crept deeper into the ship. Back on Earth, the global resistance against the Tarkalian invasion was gaining momentum. In the forests of Honshu, Japan, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka crouched behind a fallen tree, watching through binoculars as a swarm of giant hornets descended upon a group of Tarkalian soldiers. "Now we see how they handle Earth's airborne defenders," Tanaka murmured into his comm device. The alien troops, caught off guard by the aggressive insects, flailed wildly as the hornets attacked. Their protective suits, designed to withstand energy weapons, proved ineffective against the hornets' powerful stingers. Tarkalian screams filled the air as the venom took effect, causing their alien physiology to react violently. Tanaka allowed himself a grim smile. "Command, this is Dr. Tanaka. The Hornet strategy is working. The Tarkalians are abandoning their position in Sector 7. Meanwhile, in the dense forests of Eastern Europe, Major Hans Schmidt of the EU Defense Force led a pack of wolves towards a Tarkalian supply convoy. The predators moved silently through the underbrush, their eyes gleaming in the moonlight. Schmidt raised his hand, signaling his human team to hold position. He then gave a series of hand signals to the wolf pack's alpha, a massive gray beast that seemed to understand the Major's intent. The alpha let out a low growl, and the pack surged forward. The Tarkalian guards, more accustomed to urban warfare, were caught completely off guard by the swift and coordinated attack of Earth's apex predators. Alien shrieks and the snarls of wolves echoed through the forest as the convoy descended into chaos. Schmidt watched the carnage unfold, his face set in grim satisfaction. "This is for Earth," he muttered, before signaling his team to move in and secure the abandoned supplies. Aboard the EDF Shadowhawk, tension mounted as they approached the Tarkalian command ship. The alien vessel loomed before them, surrounded by a swarm of smaller craft that darted about like angry insects. Captain Harper studied the tactical display, his brow furrowed in concentration. "We'll never make it through that screen," he said, "not without being detected." The pilot, Lieutenant Sarah Chen, spoke up. "Sir, I have an idea. We could use Earth's ionosphere to mask our approach. Our scientists discovered a weakness in Tarkalian sensor tech during the initial invasion." Harper's eyes lit up. "Brilliant, Chen. Make it happen." The Shadowhawk dove towards Earth's upper atmosphere, skirting the edge of space. Lieutenant Chen's hands danced over the controls, guiding the stealth craft through the charged particles of the ionosphere. Warning lights flashed as the ship's system struggled against the electromagnetic interference. "Hold on," Chen gritted through clenched teeth. "This is going to get bumpy." The craft shuddered violently as they emerged from the ionosphere, mere kilometers from the Tarkalian command ship. Chen's gambit had worked. They had slipped past the defensive screen undetected. Back on the alien vessel, Jordan and the infiltration team moved cautiously through the ship's organic corridors. Jordan's keen eye for biological systems was proving invaluable as he identified potential weaknesses in the Tarkalian physiology. "Look at this," Jordan whispered, pointing to a pulsating node on the wall. "These structures are all over the ship. They seem to be linked to the Tarkalians' neural network." Captain Harper examined the node closely. "Can we use this?" Jordan nodded slowly, his mind racing. "I think so. These aliens appear to have a hypersensitivity to certain Earth-based pheromones. If we could introduce the right compound into their ship's atmosphere... Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the vessel. Commander Ector's voice boomed from hidden speakers, the alien language translated in real time by the team's equipment. Intruders detected. All units initiate full lockdown and ship-wide hunt. Capture the humans at all costs. Harper's face hardened. So much for stealth. Williams, we need that intel now. Team, prepare for evasion and combat. As the infiltration team raced through the alien ship, dodging patrols and gathering crucial data, the battle on Earth continued to rage. In the Amazon rainforest, Colonel Maria Sanchez of the Latin American Coalition Forces oversaw a unique operation. Sanchez watched through high-powered binoculars as millions of leafcutter ants swarmed over a disabled Tarkalian walker. The tiny insects, attracted to the heat signatures of the alien technology, were systematically dismantling the advanced weaponry. Incredible, Sanchez breathed, shaking her head in amazement. Nature truly is the greatest weapon. Her second-in-command approached, snapping a crisp salute. Colonel, reports are coming in from all sectors. The ants are rendering the Tarkalian ground forces virtually useless. Their equipment is failing faster than they can repair it. Sanchez allowed herself a small smile. Excellent. Push the advantage. It's time to show these aliens that Earth is not their playground. In orbit, Admiral Steele stood on the bridge of the EDF flagship, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display of the battle. Reports streamed in from around the globe, each one confirming that humanity was turning the tide. Sir, his communications officer called out, we're receiving a priority transmission from the infiltration team on the Tarkalian command ship. Steele's eyes narrowed. Put it through. Jordan Williams' voice crackled over the comm, breathless and urgent. Admiral, we've uncovered critical intelligence. Ector is planning a last-ditch assault on Earth's major population centers. He's desperate to force a surrender before his forces are overwhelmed. Understood, Williams, Steele replied, his mind already formulating a counter-strategy. Get your team out of there now. We'll handle Ector's endgame. As Jordan and Captain Harper's team fought their way back to the extraction point, Admiral Steele turned to his tactical officer. It's time. Deploy Project Gaia. Across the EDF fleet, launch bays opened to release swarms of biomechanical drones. These marvels of human engineering, inspired by Earth's most resilient creatures, streamed towards the remaining Tarkalian ships. The drones moved with the coordinated precision of an ant colony, each individual part of a greater whole. Commander Ector watched in growing horror as his ship's systems began to fail one by one. The biomechanical swarms infiltrated every crevice, disabling propulsion and weapons with ruthless efficiency. What is happening? Ector screeched, his mandibles clicking in agitation. How can these primitives possess such technology? As Project Gaia tightened its grip on the Tarkalian fleet, Jordan and Captain Harper's team reached the Shadowhawk. Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled over the comm as they approached. Infiltration team, this is Shadowhawk. We're detecting increased activity in the Tarkalian fleet. Whatever you did in there, it's got them spooked. Prepare for immediate extraction and brace for evasive maneuvers. The team piled into the stealth craft and Chen gunned the engines. The Shadowhawk rocketed away from the Tarkalian command ship, weaving through debris and disabled alien vessels. Jordan clutched the data storage device containing their hard-won intelligence, his squeezing hard. We did it, he breathed, hardly daring to believe it. We actually did it. Captain Harper clapped him on the shoulder, a rare smile breaking through his stoic demeanor. We're not out of the woods yet, Williams, but thanks to you, humanity has a fighting chance. As the Shadowhawk raced back towards Earth, the fate of two species hung in the balance. The intelligence Jordan and the team had gathered could be the key to ending the Tarkalian invasion once and for all. But with Ector preparing a desperate final assault, the coming hours would determine whether Earth would remain free or fall to alien dominion. The battle for humanity's future was entering its final decisive phase. The Shadowhawk docked with the EDF flagship, its hull still smoking from the intense escape. Jordan, Captain Harper, and their team stumbled out, exhausted but triumphant. Admiral Steele was waiting for them, his face a mask of anticipation. "Williams, report," he barked as soon as Jordan's feet hit the deck. Jordan straightened, his voice hoarse but urgent. "Sir, Commander Ector is planning a final, desperate assault on Earth's major population centers. He's hoping to force a surrender before his forces are completely overwhelmed." Steele's eyes narrowed. "Not on my watch." He turned to his communications officer. "Initiate Protocol Olympus. It's time to show these aliens what we've been hiding." Across Earth's orbit, hidden stations began to power up. Massive orbital defense platforms, concealed by advanced cloaking technology, revealed themselves. The Tarkalian fleet, already battered by Project Gaia, now faced a new, formidable threat. On the bridge of his flagship, Commander Ector's compound eyes widened in shock. "Impossible! How did we not detect these?" Back on Earth, Admiral Steele's voice echoed through command centers worldwide. "All EDF forces, this is Admiral Steele. Initiate Operation Gaia's Fury. I repeat, Operation Gaia's Fury is a go." In the Rocky Mountains, General Hawkins surveyed his unusual army. Dozens of grizzly bears, each fitted with sleek EDF exosuits, stood at attention. Above, a flock of cybernetically enhanced bald eagles circled, their implants gleaming in the sunlight. "All right, team," Hawkins addressed his human soldiers. "We've trained for this. Let's show these aliens what Earth's wildlife can really do." The bears charged forward, their exosuits amplifying their already formidable strength. They tore through Tarkalian defenses like paper, while the eagles provided real-time targeting data to human artillery units. In the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Zhao of the EDF Naval Division watched as his fleet of biomechanical submarines cut through the water. Modeled after great white sharks, these vessels moved with terrifying speed and precision. "All units, commence Operation Deep Strike," Zhao commanded. The shark subs dove, using the complex underwater terrain to their advantage. Tarkalian ships, attempting to regroup in Earth's oceans, found themselves ambushed from below. Meanwhile, in a hastily assembled lab, Jordan Williams worked feverishly alongside Dr. Emily Lewis. They hunched over microscopes and holographic displays, fine-tuning their latest weapon. "There," Jordan said, pointing to a simulation. "If we modify the mosquito's proboscis to deliver the pheromone directly into their bloodstream..." Dr. Lewis nodded, her fingers flying over a keyboard. "It should bypass their armor completely. Brilliant, Jordan." As their bioweapon entered mass production, the tide of battle continued to turn. Tarkalian forces, already struggling against Earth's conventional military, now faced an onslaught of wildlife tactics they couldn't have imagined. In orbit, Commander Ector watched in growing desperation as his invasion force crumbled. "Enough!" he roared. "Activate the World Breaker." A massive energy cannon emerged from his flagship, its barrel aimed directly at Earth. Ector's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Humans, surrender now or watch your cities burn." On the EDF flagship, alarms blared. Admiral Steele's face hardened. "So he's playing his trump card. Well, so will we." He turned to his tactical officer. "Activate the GSAT network." Across Earth's orbit, a series of satellites came to life. As Ector's weapon fired, the satellites created localized gravitational fields, bending the energy beam away from Earth's surface. The deadly blast harmlessly dissipated into space. Ector's mandibles clicked in frustration. How? How are they doing this? But before anyone could celebrate this victory, new alarms sounded. A massive fleet of unknown ships emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. "Sir," an EDF officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the new arrivals." A holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Admiral Kral of the Zorax Empire. His voice, translated in real time, filled the bridge. "Attention, beings of Earth and Tarkalia. This is Admiral Kral of the Zorax Empire. We claim this world for ourselves. Surrender or be destroyed. Silence fell over the EDF flagship as the implications sank in. Humanity now faced not one, but two alien invasion forces. Admiral Steele's voice cut through the tension. All senior staff and special advisors report to the war room immediately. Minutes later, Jordan found himself seated at a large table with Earth's top military minds. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mixture of fear and drive. "Ladies and gentlemen," Steele began, "we now face an unprecedented threat. Ideas?" Jordan leaned forward, his mind racing. "Sir, I have a proposal. It's risky, but it might be our only chance." He took a deep breath. "We turn Earth itself into a weapon." As all eyes turned to him, Jordan began to outline his daring plan. He explained how they could use Earth's entire biosphere against both invading forces, leveraging the planet's incredible biodiversity in ways the aliens couldn't possibly anticipate. But sir," he concluded, "I have to warn you, this strategy could have long-term consequences for Earth's ecosystems. We'd be pushing our planet to its limits." Admiral Steele nodded gravely, weighing the options. Outside the war room's windows, the Zorax fleet loomed ever closer, their ships dwarfing even the Tarkalian vessels. Earth's defenders braced themselves for the next phase of the battle, knowing that the decisions made in the next few moments would shape not just the outcome of the invasion, but the very future of their world. Planet, but the very future of their species. Admiral Steele's eyes swept across the room, taking in the determined faces of Earth's best and brightest. He nodded decisively. "Williams, your plan is audacious, but it may be our only hope. Let's do it." Within hours, the gears of Jordan's ambitious strategy began to turn. The EDF activated a global network of weather control satellites, originally designed for climate stabilization. Massive storm systems began to form around the planet, creating a natural barrier against the approaching Zorax fleet. In orbit, Captain Chen of the Shadowhawk watched in awe as Earth's atmosphere came alive with swirling clouds and crackling lightning. "It's like the planet itself is fighting back," she murmured. On the bridge of the Zorax flagship, Admiral Krell's tentacles writhed in frustration as his sensors struggled to penetrate the electromagnetic interference caused by Earth's sudden meteorological upheaval. "These primitives are more resourceful than we anticipated," he growled. "Prepare for atmospheric entry." As the Zorax ships plunged into Earth's turbulent skies, many of the smaller craft were torn apart by the savage winds and electromagnetic pulses. Those that survived found themselves in a gauntlet of EDF orbital platforms and the remnants of the Tarkalian fleet. Meanwhile, Jordan Williams worked feverishly in a hastily assembled biolab. Surrounded by a team of Earth's top biologists and geneticists, he initiated Project Genesis. Vats of genetically modified organisms bubbled and churned as Jordan fine-tuned their design. "These enhanced kudzu plants will grow 10 times faster than normal," he explained to Dr. Emily Lewis. "Their fibers are strong enough to entangle even Zorax battle mechs." Emily nodded, her fingers flying over a holographic interface. "And these modified bacteria should be able to break down alien alloys within hours. We're turning our entire biosphere into a weapon." As the GMOs were released into the environment, Earth's ecosystems began to change at an unprecedented rate. In Africa, genetically enhanced acacia trees stretched towards the sky, their branches heavy with pods containing a potent neurotoxin. A squad of Zorax soldiers, their armor gleaming in the harsh sun, marched through the savanna. Suddenly, a gust of wind shook the acacia trees, releasing a cloud of toxin. The aliens stumbled, their movements becoming erratic as the poison took effect. "What is this sorcery?" the Zorax squad leader gasped, his respirator struggling to filter the unfamiliar compound. In South America, the jungle floor writhed with activity. Swarms of bullet ants, now twice their original size, poured from their nests. They overwhelmed a Zorax encampment, their stings penetrating even the aliens' advanced armor. Commander Ector, watching the chaos unfold from his crippled command ship, saw an opportunity. He opened a communication channel to the Zorax flagship. Admiral Kral, this is Commander Ector of the Tarkalian Expansion Force. Perhaps we can discuss an alliance against our common enemy? Kral's laughter boomed through the comm system. Alliance? With failures like you? The Zorax Empire stands alone. We will crush these humans and claim this world for ourselves. In orbit, the EDF unveiled its next technological marvel, the Gaia Nexus, a massive space station jam-packed with sensors and communication arrays, came online. Admiral Steele stood at its heart, surrounded by holographic displays showing battle data from across the globe. All EDF forces, this is Admiral Steele. His voice rang out across every frequency. The Gaia Nexus is operational. Coordinate your attacks through the central system. Let's show these invaders what Earth can really do. Underneath the waves, a new alliance was forming. Schools of cybernetically enhanced dolphins swam alongside the EDF's biomechanical submarines, their sonar providing unprecedented underwater awareness. Giant squids, their tentacles fitted with advanced grappling devices, wrapped themselves around Zorax submersibles, crushing their hulls. Back in his lab, Jordan Williams hunched over a microscope, his eyes wide with excitement. "I found it," he exclaimed, "a common genetic marker in both Tarkalian and Zorax DNA. It makes them susceptible to certain Earth-based pathogens." Dr. Lewis leaned in, her face a mixture of hope and concern. A virus that could incapacitate both species without harming Earth's native life? Jordan nodded grimly. "Exactly, but we'll need time to develop and test it, time we may not have." As if in response to his words, alarms blared throughout the Gaia Nexus. Admiral Steele's face hardened as he received the report. The Zorax are deploying some kind of massive device. Energy readings are off the charts. On the main view screen, a colossal machine emerged from the Zorax flagship. Its surface rippled with strange energies as it began to alter the very fabric of Earth's atmosphere. "Sir," a young lieutenant called out, her voice trembling. "Analysis suggests it's a terraforming device. If it's not stopped, it could make Earth uninhabitable for all native life forms within hours." Admiral Steele's mind raced, weighing options and calculating risks. Finally, he turned to his communications officer. "Get me Captain Harper. It's time to deploy the Falcons." Minutes later, Captain Derek Harper stood before a sleek, avian-shaped fighter craft. Its biomimetic design, inspired by Earth's most agile predators, gleamed under the hangar lights. "Listen up, Falcon Squadron." Harper addressed his elite team of pilots. "Our mission is simple but crucial. We penetrate the Zorax defenses and take out that terraforming device. The fate of our entire planet rests on this operation. Questions?" Silence fell over the hangar, broken only by the sound of pilots climbing into their cockpits. Harper allowed himself a small smile. "Then let's remind these aliens why you don't mess with Earth." As the Falcon Squadron launched into the chaos of Earth's embattled skies, a priority transmission reached Admiral Steele. The Admiral's eyebrows rose in surprise as he recognized the sender. "This is Commander Ector of the Tarkalian forces." The alien's voice crackled through the speakers. "I have vital information about Zorax weaknesses. In exchange, I request asylum for myself and my loyal officers." Steele's mind whirled with the implications of this unexpected offer. As he pondered his response, the Falcon Squadron streaked towards the Zorax flagship, Earth's last hope against the alien terraforming threat. The battle for humanity's future had entered its most critical phase. The next few hours would determine not just the outcome of the invasion, but the very nature of life on Earth for generations to come. Admiral Steele's eyes narrowed as he processed Commander Ector's unexpected offer. The Tarkalian's desperation was evident, but so was the potential value of his information. Steele made his decision. "Commander Ector, transmit your data immediately. We'll discuss asylum after we've verified its usefulness." As Ector's information flowed into the EDF systems, Steele turned his attention to the Falcon Squadron's approach. On the main view screen, the biomimetic fighters streaked across the battlefield, their sleek forms barely visible against the chaos of Earth's turbulent skies. Inside his cockpit, Captain Derek Harper felt a surge of adrenaline as the Zorax flagship loomed before them. The massive vessel bristled with weapon emplacements, its hull shimmering with energy shields. "Falcon Squadron, execute attack pattern Delta," Harper ordered. "Use the storm cover to mask our approach." The fighters dove into a roiling mass of clouds, their advanced sensors cutting through the electromagnetic interference. Lightning crackled around them, the planet's fury providing a natural smokescreen. As they emerged from the storm front, the Zorax defenses opened fire. Beams of energy lanced through space, but the Falcon's incredible maneuverability allowed them to dance between the deadly rays. "Now!" Harper shouted. The squadron split into 3 groups, each targeting a different section of the flagship's shield grid. Their weapons, calibrated using Ector's data, struck with pinpoint accuracy. Sections of the energy barrier flickered and died. "We have breach points," Harper reported, moving to Phase 2. Back on Earth, Jordan Williams stood before a sealed containment unit, its contents glowing with an eerie blue light. Dr. Emily Lewis approached, her face a mixture of hope and apprehension. "The virus is ready," Jordan said, his voice tight with exhaustion and tension. "But we're still working on a delivery system that can penetrate Zorax biofilters." Emily's eyes lit up. "I think I have a solution." She pulled up a holographic display showing swarms of nanobots. "We can use these to carry the virus. They're small enough to slip through most filters, and they can adapt to different atmospheric conditions." Jordan nodded, a grim smile crossing his face. "Let's do it." As they worked to integrate the virus with the nanobots, alerts blared throughout the facility. Outside, the genetically modified organisms of Project Genesis were evolving faster than anyone had anticipated. In the Australian outback, a Zorax ground force found itself trapped in a forest of rapidly growing eucalyptus trees. The alien alloys of their vehicles creaked and groaned as the enhanced plants wrapped around them, their roots burrowing into every crevice. "Fall back," the Zorax commander ordered. But as his troops retreated towards a nearby river, they encountered a new threat. Swarms of mutated platypuses, their venom now potent enough to penetrate alien armor, surged from the water. The air filled with the alien screams as the seemingly harmless creatures overwhelmed them. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In the wheat fields of Europe, Zorax soldiers stumbled and fell as their breathing apparatus clogged with hyper-aggressive plant spores. In the Amazon, vines as strong as steel cables dragged alien craft from the sky. Aboard the Gaia Nexus, Admiral Steele watched the global defense unfold with a mixture of awe and concern. Earth was fighting back with a ferocity that surprised even him. But the planet's transformation came at a cost. How much of this change would be irreversible? His thoughts were interrupted by a priority communication from Jordan Williams. "Admiral, we're ready to deploy the virus, but we need to get it into the ventilation systems of both the Tarkalian and Zorax ships." Steele nodded. "I'll coordinate with Captain Harper's team. They're almost at the Zorax flagship's core. As for the Tarkalians..." He paused, considering. "We'll use Ector. He can provide access to his own ships." Minutes later, a fleet of stealth drones launched from EDF bases around the world. Each carried a payload of virus-laden nanobots, their mission to infiltrate the alien vessels and release their cargo. In orbit, the battle reached a fever pitch. The Falcon Squadron, having breached the Zorax flagship's outer defenses, fought their way through cramped corridors towards the ship's center. Captain Harper led the charge, his team using their suit's advanced sensors to navigate the alien architecture. "We're approaching the core," Harper reported, his breath heavy. "But something's wrong. These energy readings are off the charts." As they entered a vast chamber, they saw the source of the readings. The terraforming device pulsed with strange energies, its surface rippling like liquid metal. But it wasn't a separate machine as they had thought. It was integrated into the very heart of the flagship. "Falcon lead to Gaia Nexus," Harper called. "The device is part of the ship. We can't disable it without risking a massive explosion." On the Nexus, Dr. Emily Lewis's mind raced. They needed a way to neutralize the threat without destroying the ship in Earth's orbit. Suddenly, an idea struck her. "Admiral," she said, turning to Steele, "we can use the gravity manipulation satellites to create a localized wormhole. We can teleport the entire Zorax flagship out of orbit." Steele's eyes widened. "The risks are high," Emily finished, "but it may be our only option." After a moment of tense silence, Steele nodded. "Do it. Harper, get your team out of there now." As the EDF scrambled to reposition their satellites, the aliens launched a desperate final assault. Tarkalian and Zorax ships, their crews weakened by the spreading virus, threw themselves at Earth's defenses in a last-ditch effort to claim victory. The skies above Earth became a maelstrom of energy weapons, missiles, and crashing ships. The Gaia Nexus coordinated the planet's defense, directing storms to batter the alien fleets and guiding swarms of enhanced insects to infiltrate and sabotage the invaders from within. Captain Harper and his team fought their way back through the Zorax flagship, the ship shuddering around them as the battle raged. They reached their fighters just as the gravity manipulation satellites came online. Energy buildup detected, an EDF technician reported. Wormhole forming in 3, 2, 1. A point of utter darkness appeared near the Zorax flagship, rapidly expanding into a swirling vortex of gravitational energy. The massive ship, caught in the wormhole's pull, began to move. As the Falcon squadron escaped the doomed vessel, Captain Harper looked back. The Zorax flagship, along with its deadly terraforming device, was being swallowed by the cosmic maw. But the battle was just the beginning. As the wormhole closed, taking the Zorax threat with it, the remaining alien forces fought with renewed desperation. The EDF, its resources stretched to the limit, braced for the next phase of this epic struggle for Earth's survival. Survival? Earth trembled as the wormhole's gravitational pull intensified, its voracious maw threatening to consume not just the alien fleets, but the very planet they sought to conquer. Inside the Zorax flagship, Captain Harper and his team fought their way through chaotic corridors. Alarms blared, and emergency lights cast an eerie red glow over the alien architecture. The ship shuddered violently, internal systems failing as Jordan's virus ravaged its circuitry. "Move!" Harper shouted, ducking as a section of ceiling collapsed behind them. His squad pressed forward, their advanced exosuits barely keeping pace with the deteriorating environment. A group of Zorax defenders rounded the corner, their plasma weapons charged. Harper's team reacted instantly, diving for cover behind twisted bulkheads. The air crackled with energy as both sides exchanged fire. "Falcon 2, on your left," Harper called out. His second-in-command rolled, narrowly avoiding a blast that melted the deck plating where he'd been standing. The squad's return fire found its mark. Zorax soldiers fell, their alien physiology no match for Earth's most advanced weaponry. But more took their place, driven by desperation and the knowledge that their flagship was doomed. "Extraction points just ahead," Falcon 3 reported, her voice strained. "We're almost there, Captain." They rounded the final bend, hope surging as they saw their escape craft. But that hope was short-lived. A massive explosion rocked the hangar, and Harper watched in horror as their only means of escape disintegrated in a ball of fire. "Damn it!" he snarled, his mind racing. They were trapped on a dying ship with a wormhole expanding around them. Time was running out. Harper's eyes narrowed as he made his decision. "New plan, we're taking the bridge." His team looked at him in shock, but years of training kicked in. They nodded, readying themselves for what could be their final mission. As Harper led his squad towards the Zorax command center, events unfolded rapidly across multiple fronts. In the skies above Earth, the EDF's high-altitude interceptors soared into action. Their sleek forms cut through the upper atmosphere, targeting the waves of terraforming particles released by the prematurely activated alien device. Lieutenant Sarah Chen piloted her interceptor with precision, her neural link allowing her to become one with the aircraft. "Echo Squadron, form up on me," she ordered. We've got to neutralize these particles before they reach the troposphere. The interceptors unleashed a barrage of counteragents, specially designed to nullify the alien terraforming technology. The sky lit up with brilliant flashes as the two opposing forces collided. On the ground, the rapid evolution of Project Genesis organisms reached a fever pitch. In the heart of the Amazon, Dr. Ilana Rodriguez watched in awe as the rainforest transformed before her eyes. Massive trees, their DNA enhanced with rapid growth genes, shot skyward at an impossible rate. Their trunks thickened and hardened, forming an impenetrable wall against the advancing Tarkalian ground forces. Incredible, Ilana breathed, her scientific mind struggling to process the scene. She activated her comlink. Gaia Nexus, are you seeing this? Admiral Steele's voice crackled through. We're monitoring, Doctor. Your creations are buying us valuable time, but we've got bigger problems. In orbit, the combined Tarkalian and Zorax fleets launched their desperate assault. Earth's defenses lit up as energy weapons and missiles crisscrossed the void of space. The EDF's biomechanical drones swarmed around the larger alien vessels, their adaptive AI allowing them to predict and counter enemy maneuvers. But the sheer number of attacking ships threatened to overwhelm them. Aboard the Gaia Nexus, Jordan Williams hunched over his console, his fingers flying across holographic displays. Admiral, he called out, his voice tight with urgency. The terraforming device's activation, it's not just a threat, it's an opportunity. Steele turned, his eyebrow raised. Explain. Jordan pulled up a complex energy diagram. If we can harness the device's energy signature, we might be able to amplify the wormhole's power. We could take out a much larger portion of the invasion fleet. The Admiral's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. It was a chance to turn the aliens' own weapon against them, potentially ending the invasion in one fell swoop. But the risks? The gravitational effects could be catastrophic, Steele mused, his mind racing through scenarios. Jordan nodded grimly. Yes, sir, but if we don't try, Earth might not survive anyway. Steele took a deep breath, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. Do it, he ordered, and may God help us all. As Jordan's team worked feverishly to implement their daring plan, the effects of the expanding wormhole began to manifest planetside. In coastal regions around the globe, tides shifted dramatically. Massive waves crashed against shorelines, forcing emergency evacuations. Deep beneath the Earth's crust, tectonic plates groaned under the strain of altered gravitational forces. The Gaia Nexus's weather control satellites worked overtime, struggling to stabilize atmospheric conditions. Storms formed and dissipated in rapid succession as the planet's climate systems were thrown into chaos. In the oceans, swarms of bioluminescent plankton, another product of Project Genesis, congregated around submerged alien craft. Their light show disrupted the vessel's sensors, making them easy targets for EDF submarines lying in wait. Captain Nishimura of the EDF submarine Leviathan watched his tactical display light up. "All tubes, fire!" he commanded. A spread of advanced torpedoes streaked through the water, homing in on the disoriented Zorax ships. Back in orbit, the wormhole expanded at an unprecedented rate. Tarkalian and Zorax ships alike were caught in its gravitational pull, their hulls buckling under the immense forces. The void of space was filled with the silent explosions of dying vessels as the anomaly tore them apart. On the bridge of the Zorax flagship, Captain Harper and his team fought their final battle. They had seized control of the command center, but at a heavy cost. Half of Harper's squad lay motionless on the alien deck, their sacrifice ensuring Earth's last chance for survival. Harper's hands flew over the unfamiliar controls, guiding the massive ship towards the heart of the wormhole. Through the view screen, he could see other Zorax vessels being drawn in, their crews powerless to resist the gravitational onslaught. "This is for Earth," Harper whispered, pushing the engines to their limit. As the flagship plunged into the swirling vortex, the wormhole reached its maximum size. But the victory was short-lived. Alarms blared throughout the Gaia Nexus as sensors detected a new, terrifying development. "Admiral," a technician cried out. "The wormhole. It's pulling Earth towards it." Steele's face paled as he watched the holographic display. The blue marble of Earth was slowly, inexorably, being drawn towards the cosmic maw they had created. "How long?" he demanded. "At current rates, we have less than 5 minutes before Earth is torn from its orbit," Jordan reported, his voice shaking. Steele's mind raced. They had to close the wormhole, but how? "Divert all power to the gravity manipulation satellites," he ordered. "We need to collapse that thing now." As the EDF threw everything they had at the problem, Jordan Williams stared at his data streams, a crazy idea forming in his mind. He pulled up Earth's magnetic field data, his eyes widening as he saw a potential solution. "Admiral," he called out, his voice filled with a mix of fear and excitement. "I think I have a way to push back against the wormhole's pull, but it's risky as hell." Steele turned to him, desperation evident in his eyes. "At this point, Dr. Williams, I'm open to anything. What's your plan?" Jordan took a deep breath, knowing that what he was about to propose could either save Earth or doom it entirely. "We reverse the polarity of Earth's magnetic field, create a counterforce strong enough to resist the wormhole's gravitational pull." The Admiral's eyebrows shot up. "The consequences?" "It could be extreme," Jordan finished. "Widespread electromagnetic disruptions, possibly worse, but it might be our only chance." Steele looked at the countdown timer, watching precious seconds tick away. Earth's fate hung in the balance, and he alone had to make the call that would determine the future of humanity. He turned to Jordan, his decision made. "Do it." As Jordan's fingers flew across his console, initiating the magnetic field reversal, the people of Earth held their collective breath. The next few moments would decide not just the outcome of the alien invasion, but the very survival of their world. The Gaia Nexus hummed with power as it channeled Earth's electromagnetic energy. Outside, the wormhole loomed, a hungry void threatening to swallow the planet whole. And in that razor-thin margin between salvation and oblivion, humanity's future hung in the balance. Balance. Jordan's fingers flew across the holographic interface, initiating the magnetic field reversal sequence. Warning klaxons blared throughout the Gaia Nexus as the station's systems strained under the enormous power draw. "All non-essential systems offline," a technician reported, channeling maximum power to the electromagnetic pulse generators. Admiral Steele gripped the edge of the command console, his nucleus tightening. "Do it." Jordan took a deep breath and pressed the final activation key. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a wave of energy rippled outward from the Gaia Nexus, racing across the globe at the speed of light. On the surface, cities went dark as the EMP washed over them. Vehicles stalled, communication systems fell silent, and the hum of modern life faded to an eerie quiet. In its wake, the sky erupted in a dazzling display of color as charged particles danced along the shifting magnetic field lines. Aboard the Zorax flagship, Captain Harper and his surviving team members felt the ship lurch as the EMP hit. Alien systems flickered and died, plunging the bridge into darkness. Harper's exosuit, shielded against such attacks, remained functional. "Now's our chance," he growled, activating his suit's built-in illumination. "Take the bridge." The squad moved with practiced precision, subduing the disoriented Zorax crew. Harper strode to the main control interface, its alien design now familiar after months of studying captured technology. "Let's send these bastards home," he muttered, inputting commands to steer the massive ship towards the wormhole's center. As the flagship began to move, its gravitational wake pulled nearby alien vessels along with it. The space around Earth became a maelstrom of ships being dragged inexorably towards the cosmic maw. On the planet's surface, the effects of the magnetic reversal were both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Dr. Ilana Rodriguez watched from her research station in the Amazon as the genetically modified flora reacted to the electromagnetic changes. Trees grew at an impossible rate, their trunks thickening and leaves shimmering with bioluminescence. "Incredible," She breathed, recording the phenomenon with her backup systems. The plants are adapting to stabilize the environment. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In the oceans, massive kelp forests erupted from the seafloor, their roots anchoring tectonic plates. Deserts bloomed with resilient electromagnetic-sensitive vegetation that drew moisture from the very air. High above, the EDF's biomechanical drones swarmed in intricate patterns, forming a living shield around the planet. Their adaptive AI worked in concert with the Gaia Nexus, calculating optimal positions to intercept debris from the disintegrating alien fleet. Drone shield at maximum capacity, Jordan reported, his eyes darting between multiple data streams. They're buying us time, but the gravitational wave from the collapsing wormhole is still building. Admiral Steele's face was grim. Options, Dr. Williams. Jordan's mind raced, processing variables at lightning speed. His eyes widened as an audacious plan formed. Sir, we need to use Earth itself as a counterforce. If we can accelerate the planet's rotation, even slightly, we might be able to create a gyroscopic effect strong enough to resist the wormhole's pull. Steele stared at him incredulously. You want to spin the Earth faster? Not by much, Jordan assured him. Just enough to stabilize our orbit. We have a network of generators buried in the planet's crust for just such an emergency. If we activate them all at once... The Admiral didn't hesitate. Do it, whatever it takes to save Earth. Jordan's fingers danced across the console, sending activation codes to hidden facilities around the globe. Deep beneath the surface, massive generators hummed to life, their energy feeding directly into the planet's core. The effect was subtle at first, then increasingly noticeable. Day and night cycles accelerated imperceptibly, and the planet's axial wobble stabilized. The combined force of Earth's increased rotation and the reversed magnetic field began to push back against the wormhole's gravitational pull. In orbit, Captain Harper watched as the cosmic vortex began to shrink. The Zorax flagship shuddered as it crossed the event horizon, systems failing catastrophically. This is Captain James Harper of the Earth Defense Force. He transmitted on all frequencies. To anyone who can hear this, Earth stands. Humanity survives. Remember us. The transmission cut off as the flagship disappeared into the collapsing wormhole, taking with it the last of the Zorax and Tarkalian fleets. On the Gaia Nexus, Jordan and Admiral Steele watched in tense silence as Earth's position stabilized. The wormhole collapsed in on itself with a final soundless flash of energy that rippled across space-time. For a moment, no one dared to speak. Then, cheers erupted throughout the station as the realization dawned. They had won. Earth was safe. But the victory came at a cost. The planet's ecosystem, supercharged by the electromagnetic pulse and the rapid evolution of Project Genesis organisms, were in a state of flux. Forests had tripled in size, oceans teemed with new life, and the atmosphere crackled with residual energy. As the Gaia Nexus re-established communications with ground stations, reports flooded in from around the globe. The healing process had begun, far faster than anyone had anticipated. Rivers ran clear, air quality improved by the hour, and even the ozone layer showed signs of rapid repair. Admiral Steele stood before the station's main view screen, gazing down at the transformed Earth. Its continents were now veined with rivers of bioluminescent plant life, visible even from orbit. The planet pulsed with a new vitality, as if awakened from a long slumber. "Prepare a global address," he ordered, straightening his uniform. "The world needs to know what's happened, and what comes next." As the communications team scrambled to set up a planet-wide broadcast, Jordan Williams approached the Admiral. His eyes were alight with excitement and the fires of scientific discovery. "Sir," he said, holding up a data pad, "you need to see this. The Zorax terraforming device, combined with our Genesis organisms, I think we've just unlocked the key to advanced planetary engineering." Steele raised an eyebrow. "Meaning?" Jordan grinned. "Meaning, Admiral, that this is just the beginning. We can heal Earth faster than we ever dreamed possible. And after that?" He gestured to the starfield beyond Earth. "The galaxy awaits." The Admiral allowed himself a small smile. "One step at a time, Doctor. First we address our people, then we rebuild, and then—" He trailed off, his gaze fixed on the distant stars. As the Gaia Nexus oriented itself for the global broadcast, the first waves of Earth's new defensive fleet rose from hidden bases around the planet. Sleek ships, incorporating both human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien technology, took up protective positions in orbit. The message to the cosmos was clear. Earth was no longer an easy target. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger, more unified, and ready to take its place among the stars. Admiral Steele squared his shoulders and faced the camera. The eyes of the world were upon him, waiting to hear the full story of their salvation and the promise of a new era for humankind.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.